Hello. Hey, what's going on? It's another edition of the Pay to Speak. Tonight, we got very special guests, the young people. We got millennials. We got Generation Z and X, Y, and Z.
We're Generation X. The only thing we don't have are the baby boomers.
The baby boomers. Come on now.
I'm right. Well, no. I'm about 4 years past the baby boom. I'm X. Generation X.
Oh.
You're X too.
Am I X?
Yes.
Like Malcolm?
So
like that?
Yeah. Representing the millennials, we have. Wave your hand, millennial.
Hi.
Hey, tell us your name, young lady.
My name is Jalen.
All right. Jalen
Kohler, millennial, and representing Generation Z, we have.
What's your name, boy?
Can't hear you.
Elisha. He tried to do the bass.
Elisha Page and Miss Lady, Generation Z. What's your name?
Angel.
Angel Page.
You said a little.
I was supposed to say my last name. You mean?
But tonight we just want to hear, some different viewpoints.
Yeah, we really want to find out what divides us. Why our conversations with young people go awry. What the heck do y'all be thinking?
Like,
somebody help me up in here today. I get a chance to talk to them face to face and find out what goes on in their mind and what's going on in our mind that messes up their mind and causes everybody's mind to be messed up. Amen.
Hey,
right? You think I'm weird, don't you? I know you do. Y'all do, all y'all do, but it's okay. I'm weird in my own special way.
You're not weird, honey.
Okay. Amen. All right.
I have to say that.
Oh.
Because, you're my husband.
Right.
You can't like that I'm weird too. But maybe we both weird.
We sometimes, but it's all good. All right.
So the only thing that's not different is we are family. So, these are some of our children, but, we want them to just really give their viewpoints on things because sometimes, it's hard for us all to relate to one another.
Yes.
So it's good, what does the Bible say? And all that getting understanding.
Yeah.
So we try to understand.
Come on now.
Amen.
And some people out there might need to understand and start having a seat with the young people and really start to dig in and really get some things going where we all can relate with one another and be one.
Kumbaya. Yeah. Okay, anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
So, one question I want to ask everybody. I think I want to ask questions and then have, Gen X and Gen Z and millennials like to answer. And it's 2 of y'all on Gen Z team, so y'all can like tag up, and give y'all the point. Everybody else, we just solo dolo out here. I'm gonna moderate, and you'll be solo dolo. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Y'all may not. It's okay. Let's do it.
Okay. So my first question is, how do you feel about church?
That's a good question. Well, I'll let y'all start.
Well, no, what do you think? No, you can start so you can help. But
I think.
What do you think the purposes of church? How do you feel about church?
Well, at this particular point,
yes,
I think church has been institutionalized for way too long. There has been a lot of bondage inside of being church folk, and not a lot of freedom from religion, and a lot of people have been bound by stuff in the church. Mm-hmm. And I think it's like time for us to break off some of these chains that actually kept us in bondage, but yet we thought we were really free, but really we were fighting against ourselves because of what has been put on us from previous generations. Okay. Per se. But as far as I like to call it us believers, I like to call it, us believers or kingdom citizens, because it kind of helps me to kind of like break away from what we thought was the norm and what God truly intended for the church to be, per se.
Okay.
So I love being around believers. I love being around the kingdom. I love being around people who are free to be them and free to be able to walk in their purpose and destiny and all that good stuff that we always say. But there's a whole nother level to it that causes us to be to be able to get free and not allow rules and regulations and all kinds of crazy stuff get us into a bonded state. But that's my take. But anybody else jump up like popcorn?
Millennial?
So the word I would say will be repetitious. That's something I think that's probably what many of us can say is that it's okay. We've seen this with kids, and now we're adults. We're kind of like, okay, it's the same thing. What really has changed? And a lot of us are looking for something different. You know, we're looking for, okay, we believe in God, we believe in the Spirit, but this isn't working. This can't be all that, you know, that Jesus wrote home on, you know. So it's like, where is that change? Where's that thing? And then when the repetition happens in this, we say religious activity, you know, it just causes a disconnect. You know what I'm saying? A disconnect. And a lot of us, I would say in our generation, are really looking for that deeper thing, that aha moment. And a lot of us are seeking, I would say, spirituality rather than more than the church.
Okay, spirituality. What does that mean?
I said it doesn't mean I mean it. I just know that it's something I see within my friend group. I would say on Instagram and Facebook and things like that. But I would say it's awareness. It's awareness of who you are and also what's around you. It's a grounding. And it's also, I would say, it's a knowingness. It's kind of like, you know, let's get away from the basic fleshly stuff, and let's get to a deeper point. It's like we're looking for deep thought, deep think, you know, and that connection, what makes things click. So like we're looking for the gears of the universe, you know.
The gears? Okay,
you know,
that's good.
Behind the clock, you know, things like that. So they want to know the next thing, because we've been taught and given all these symbols and, you know, fronts. It's like you think about the eyes, where it was the man behind the curtain, you know what I'm saying? And we're tired of the show. We want to know the real thing, you know. So we're understanding that. I would say that nature and all these things are one thing. A lot of times we were taught that they were all, you know, they were disconnected, that science didn't go with God and stuff like that. And we're kind of recognizing that's not the truth. Science is just the recognition of what God created, you know, us discovering what he already made. And so when we think about all these things, it makes you spiritual. It brings about spirituality because, you know, I think, you know, being spiritual is just really a knowingness of what's something outside of yourself.
That's good.
Awesome.
I got that.
Okay, Gen Z, how do y'all feel about church?
Mighty silent.
What you mean? You don't say that.
How do you feel about church? What do you think about church?
I feel like
the purpose of church.
It's a way to gain a better connection with God, so we won't all be heathens.
Okay. I think you're reaching to get the perfect answer.
Yeah, what is your
answer? You can talk real talk.
I think that's good. She's like, it's what it is. I'll be heathens.
That's what I think. So
that's good. What about you?
I think church is a way so people could like know about God and get to know about the Bible and stuff.
How do you feel about it? Going to church.
I like going to church.
You like going to church?
It's fun.
Yeah, really?
Cool.
Wow.
Yay. Well, Sunshine said boredom. And that said boredom. And some people it is. So it's interesting how a lot of people are, just like bored. It's almost like you said, like the same old, like what's next? We've been doing this, we've seen this, we've heard this. And so in so many ways you can flip the scripture. And we want to make it apply. So we're working to make it apply, but is there more? So I think that's a sentiment with a lot of people. Is there more?
Well, you have church mechanics. You got this stuff where you go to church and the same pattern happens over again. You play the organ, get a certain sound, everybody go up. You got certain ways to yell and shout scripture and bring certain things to the light, which it seems like it's almost a regurgitation. Is that a word? But it's almost like the same recycled stuff over and over again. And we're trying, and I like what Millennials said, Miss Jalen, that it's like we're looking for the gears of the universe. Man, that's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
Because think about it. All the struggles and the things that we have going to church for many years, a lot of people going to church many years, day in, day out. Some people grew up going to church almost 7 days a week. Then we went down to 3. We had to go to part-time instead of full-time. So, but life seemingly got better because we learned how to perform. You know what I'm saying? It seemed like we got better, but we really hadn't got better because we're still hearing the same messages. But in a lot of ways, we have not been able. We've used some of the things that have been given to us, but it seems like sometimes it don't work. Do that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, because that's the thing. It's like people, and it's something like I said that Annette said that people want to say that you're going to church, and it's really just an assembly. It's supposed to be an assembling of people. So you go to church to be with like-minded people and to fellowship and to be able to exercise. What you know, and the exercise the love and the patience and but Amen. A lot of people looking for the years. A lot of people.
We're looking for the real.
That's
stuff.
the whole thing. We just want more.
I mean, I'm looking for a place where I'm trying to get to a place where I can connect. Into that thing, into the gear. I can get a good thing going on. But go ahead.
Okay, now, another question. And also online, if you all have any questions that you want to ask Generation X, which is us, Millennials, which is Jalen, or Generation Z, yay! Just feel free to put it in the remarks. Another question. Do you think that your elders should be respected?
Oh,
yeah.
Just because they're elders.
Just because they're elders.
Because they're elders, they should be respected.
I think all people should be respected.
Okay.
All people should be respected, but there's a certain level of respect that elders bring to the table because of their experience and because of their the things that they've been through. And I think a lot of times they get misunderstood by they had to go through a certain level of another generation before them, and they trying to pass down certain things. And some people look at it as harsh or being, out of pocket, but they're actually sometimes acting in love to try to bring forth, and they're trying to push a generation into the future and to do better than they are.
Okay, but sometimes, I was always taught to respect my elders, period.
Without question.
It's like I couldn't just call, like even my mom's older cousins, they were aunts. I couldn't just call them by their first name. I couldn't treat them just like, just my peers.
True.
And so it's like my mom would always say, listen, I'm not your peer. I'm not your friend. You can't talk to me like you talk to your friend. So it's like it was another level of respect with those who were older, And she would always say, I don't care how old you get, I'll still be your mama, and I'll still be just as much older than you then as I am now. So it was just a certain level of, respect. In certain ways, you just didn't talk to older people. Certain ways, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. how, and like even like older people, you say Miss, you say Miss in their last name.
Mhm.
You wouldn't just go, hey Gladys, say, oh, hi Miss Gladys, even if their first name was Gladys, hi Miss Gladys, it's just, it was a level of respect you gave them just from being elders. But a lot of times it seems like, we don't always address people with that same amount of, respect. So do you think that elders should be respected just for being your elder?
So I'm gonna chime in. I think the statement that Dad made was great, that everybody should be respected. So I think the question should be more like, should they get a greater level of respect? Yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing is that today I actually scrolled down a post on Facebook from my fellow millennials, and the post said, I'm gonna read it. It says, respect my elders? Absolutely. Let you disrespect me because you are my elder? No. So I think a lot of times it's miscrewed because they think giving respect is not something that you also do. Everybody should be respected. Should I be, just totally like spit on and, talk one side and down the other because you're my elder and just deal with them? Like, that's kind of abuse. But should I achieve greater respect with you? I shouldn't call you by your first name. No, that's respecting somebody else. But with you as an elder, you deserve greater respect. So I'll say Miss, ma'am, sir, or, whatever you desire me to call you. But I believe respect should be across the table. But I do look to achieve to give greater respect to my elders. But also I believe they should give respect to others as well. Because in my field, I come across people who are my elders who are very rude. And you're like, I want to, like, I'm a person. Like, first thing is that we're all human beings. Everybody demands a simple level of respect. And as my elder, I try to achieve and give you greater respect. But if you're not being respectful, you're going to make it difficult for me to do that in the first place. You know what I'm saying? And then it comes to the point where if you're being rude, do I have the level to then correct you in your rudeness, or I just let it happen? You know what I'm saying? Like I can say, like, come on now, like, you're being rude to me. Am I able to then say that's wrong, or just let it fly because you're my elder? Where does that come in at? So I believe, like, I don't think we have an issue with respecting our elders. I think a lot of times it's said, oh, respect your elders and let them do whatever to you. You're like, wait a minute, we're all humans here. So that's a greater level of respect. I believe we all try to achieve that. A greater level of respect, as in I will call them sir, ma'am. I don't call them by their first name. That's respectful against my, amongst my peers, but not my elders.
Okay. Deborah says, respect your elders to get knocked down.
That's true. Because back in the day, they would fire them.
Yeah.
They would just do stuff because they demanded.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't, if you gonna, or maybe I should. It was like, if you don't, if you get out of pocket, you might find a good side swipe or pan upside your head or something, or somebody that got sucker punch you. They look you straight in the eye and fired you up. But I liked it. I like what she said.
Yeah, absolutely.
In every right now, I think what is going on when you talk about generations, we are looking at misunderstanding. I think that, like I was talking about, some elders, they're trying to get a point across and keep your attention. Because sometimes I was younger, I was around here one time, believe it or not. Some things I didn't like to hear in a certain way from them, but I understood something, the wisdom that they were giving anyway. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I understood the wisdom that they gave, and I didn't fight against it because of how it came. I just took the wisdom as it was.
But we also had a different generation, because I grew up in if you come into a room of adults, you hush.
Yeah.
You ain't getting in grown folks' conversation. Don't talk back.
Right.
What I say is what it is. You ain't questioning what I say.
Right.
Shut up and do it.
That's true.
And that's just it. And I know, because like a lot of times I say I'm getting the dialogue. So with my kids, I tell them why. I need you to do this because XYZ. I wasn't getting an explanation. It's just, you just do it. Shut up and do it. And so, but it seems like it just grows, so now, you have to get an explanation. Now it's like, ask, will you do this? It's like, no.
Mm.
That there was no way I could say no
That wasn't
to my parents. But then again, it was also a fear factor with us.
Yeah.
Because if you say no to your mama, bruh, you will wake up maybe. So after you hit the floor, I wish I would say, like, get up, come go in and wash the dishes. No. Did you skip your teeth? Wow. It's like, ain't no conversation. It's no reasoning. It's like, you do what I say, period.
They said it over your body.
So it's like, it's different. It's like different levels. But it's like, but I understand, like, with that generation, it's like, oh, you're going to respect authority.
Yeah.
And, and that was it. So they were teaching you to respect authority. But I want to hear from the Z's.
Come on, Z's.
Do you think that your elders should be respected?
Yes.
I can't hear you.
Yes.
Put that bass in that voice.
Why?
Because they've been through more than us. They experience more, and they know a lot more than us.
Okay. Cool. What about you, Angel?
Yeah, I think they deserve respect because they are elders. Well, yeah, I'm just saying yeah. I'm just saying
yeah. All right, I hear you.
And that says, do what I say, not what I do generation. Yeah, that's the generation we're from. It's like, but there tends to be a communication gap sometimes. But yeah, common courtesy should be afforded to all. I'm just gonna give the story real quick. It's like I was at the Secretary of State, and it was this young guy, and it was this really, really old guy, and he was on a cane and he was struggling, and so he was standing up in line, and then he was standing up in line in front of the young guy, and then he went and sat down. And so as they were getting to the front, he got back up to get in his spot, and the young guy was like, "No, you got out of line." And he was like, "You can't get in front of me." And and the guy was like, and this is an old man, and I was just like flabbergasted. I'm like, oh my God, he's so rude. I was so upset. I just wanted to go knock him over. But it's like, it's not like a respect. A lot of times it's not a respect for elders. It's like, I don't know you. It's whereas I was raised, if it's someone that's older than you, you give them respect because they've been through a lot more and lived a lot longer than you do and have wisdom.
So like in that aspect, like, like he should have, in my situation, I would give greater respect to that man, as in I will allow him to sit down and then to rest himself and then get back up. If I saw an old lady standing and I was sitting, I will offer my seat. So that's that greater level of respect that I believe they deserve for sure. You know what I'm saying? That, they definitely deserve it. That, overshadow of a doubt, just off base, like, okay, you walk in the room, you older, I'm gonna look out for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That to the best of my ability. You know what I'm saying? So they deserve a greater level of respect, but all people deserve respect.
Yeah, but I can appreciate, like, your generation is like, I'm not gonna be abused. Just period. I'm not gonna be abused by.
I'm not gonna be abused.
Exactly. No, I ain't about to be abused. That came with, what was the social service? Don't call the people. We didn't have that option.
Yeah.
We took it. Okay. Next question, because we're like moving along, running around time. How do you feel? I'm gonna ask Gen Z first, because y'all been coming in the room. I want to hear from y'all. How do you feel about voting?
I feel like
you think voting is important.
Voting is important. I feel like we need to vote, because if we don't vote, that means we don't have a voice. But in order to, dang, stop stuttering. All right, my bad. But I feel like if we do need a voice, because we can have, what's the word? We can have a, what is the word?
I don't know.
We can have input. I think, we can have input on what goes around in our world. You feel me? Because, I'll just say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
What about you, Lisha?
I think it's good to vote, because if we can't vote, who's gonna vote? We don't have what is it? Like she said, we don't have like a voice. So who we want to lead us and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's good to vote.
All right, well, I have to go back because I have questions coming on two streams here, so I sort of missed this one. First of all, Brother Rudy Smith, love you. You said my mother taught us to demand respect because we give respect. So give respect and demand respect. All right. And then Marilla says, what happens when your elders do not respect you because they feel like they are your elders? And I guess I think that there's a difference even in generations.
Right.
If my elders don't respect us, we just had to take it.
Yeah. We took it.
We just took it.
We knew what was coming behind. We either had to duck or we had to like guard ourselves or run, one of the two. But other than that, you know what I'm saying? I think that they did what they did for a reason.
So what do you do? So what do you do? I'm gonna ask all y'all. Because I have to go back to this question. What do you do when your elders don't respect you? Elijah.
Take it. Because they get it to like.
I'm gonna say something.
Because if our parents like, I don't know how to say it, like.
Be careful, boy.
Oh God!
The parents they can do to us. So like, I don't want that to happen. So I'm gonna say it.
Okay, Asia.
I would say it depends on who, because if it's my parents, I can't say nothing because I know I could lose my life. But I feel like if it's somebody else, I feel like I'll be quiet and walk away. But knowing me, I'm not the type of person to just be quiet and walk away. I'm gonna say something to them, like saying you're being very rude or something. But I'm not gonna like get disrespectful with them and say nothing out of line. You feel me? But I'm gonna just say that you're wrong and you feel me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Michelle Spencer, she's like, it's the right thing to do as far as respect. But then Deborah McCall says, how are they disrespecting you? So I know with, like you were saying, everybody deserves to be respected. Sometimes it's like the way that they talk to you, maybe, or, what makes you feel disrespected? What makes you feel disrespected? Millennial?
I really think I shouldn't comment on this right now, to be honest. But
no, we want you to be real and raw.
What makes you feel disrespected?
Because disrespect can come from anybody. It doesn't matter your age at all. That's just flat out, But and everybody deserves respect. No one deserves to be looked upon on because of their age. You know what I'm saying? You don't, harm a baby and yell at a baby. Everybody deserves respect. So if somebody 100, just something, somebody 100 come and spit on me.
That's disrespectful.
That's disrespectful. Someone want my name. That's disrespectful. It doesn't. Their age doesn't put it past them for consequences or being rude or where they are. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't put it. You still have consequences for how you act. And the thing is, when they're of that age, do I feel like I have the right to correct them? No, I don't. But they still have to be brought to correction. By whom? I don't know. Maybe Jesus himself has to do it, but it's still not right. You know what I'm saying? It's not right. So that's the issue a lot of times when it comes to your elders. The younger generation doesn't feel like they have the right to correct them. And that's a lot of times very true. So the thing is, like, what happens? I don't know. It's a situation by situation basis. I tend to just walk away and bite my tongue. And you just, go from there. But it's hard to say demand something that you're not giving to somebody else. So that's I think that's the only thing is I don't demand something to somebody else that you're not willing to give yourself. And that's not everybody. That's not every elder or every millennial. If you want respect, give it. You reap what you sow.
Yeah, I think that also sometimes, again, what is disrespect? Because I never thought my parents were disrespectful for yelling at me.
Right.
That wasn't disrespectful. It's because you weren't listening, so they had to raise their voice.
Mm-hmm.
When my parents, used to cuss, it was cussing and it was,
in our community,
it is. I mean, but you can hear language, from your peers and language, the same thing. I mean, I hear young people calling other young people the B word all the time. But then if an older person calls somebody a B word, I'm being disrespected, so it's like, so we used to get cussed at. And like I said, sometimes, it is abusive, it can be hurtful. I'm not saying that it's not. But I think there's some things because we knew our parents were molding us, were taking care of us, and were doing the best they can. We just gave them a pass on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
On a lot of stuff, we give them a pass. And I think like on this generation, it's not as many passes given.
Not like that.
You know, it's not as many passes given. Because I don't know, we were just sort of thick skin. Because there's a lot of stuff I was told I was.
Your skin became thick because they would put
and because usually when I got cussed out, usually when I got cussed out, I did something that, you know, triggered them to cuss me out. And what I did is I learned, they don't like that. No. And if I just got cussed out, you know, I was sort of happy that I didn't get hit. It's like, I'm good because, you know, in my generation, you know, it's a shoe coming at you, a broom coming at you, a pot coming at you, a fan coming at you. You gonna get hit, you know, for skin your teeth or for like, oh, don't sigh. I mean, what you do? Oh, really? Oh, you got a problem? You get put out just quickly. It wasn't no conversation. Right. It wasn't no reasoning.
Like, please.
Yeah, but I think a lot of times, like the same sort of behaviors that you receive, sometimes it goes generationally, and generations as you go on, it's like, But I do hear sometimes. Like, you know, with the generation of things, people would say, well, like speaking about like racism. And they'd say, well, you know, I'm not like your generation. I ain't gonna take that. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I don't necessarily think that's cool either. But
I think that like we need to understand something about people. I understand disrespect, like spitting on somebody. Oh my God. I had that done to me and the person did not survive it. And you know, but there's a level of, we have to understand this. We have to see the heart in people sometimes, because I'm learning a lot about looking at people's hearts. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They may be like in a place where they might be yelling and they're trying to get a point across, but does that person really care about me? Does that person really want to see me be better? Does that person want to push me into a better future or to be able to handle situations differently? Or are they just, you know, just ripping on me because they can? Because sometimes it's hard to read between what somebody's saying in a certain way. It's hard for people to look past them and look at the heart sometimes. Because everybody that's yelling ain't just trying to yell at you just to be yelling. They trying to just, that's what I learned about my mama. My mama knew how to cuss. She knew how to throw some we call it ringers. Mm-hmm. She knew I knew all that, but I understood what she was saying, and I understood because eventually that stuff that she was saying, I was gonna have to live through what she was trying to tell me ahead of time.
Yeah, and I also, you know, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I don't think the issue is more so discipline, because that's kind of where it went towards. I don't think the issue is the discipline. I think I very much understand discipline and things like that. I believe in really vaguely, your elders are outside your household. Your elders are outside your family. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just the people who birthed you, your grandmother, your grandpa, things like that. A lot of times they do get passes. But regardless of the fact, you know, a lot of times you think about growing up or even, you know, the daughter and, you know, a female child, you were called that multiple times. Was that okay to be name called? No, it's really not okay. And now you're just internalizing that abuse. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not okay. So I think maybe this generation, we're looking for people to communicate better and evolve better in how they discipline and how to communicate, because abuse does not have to be a part of discipline. You get what I'm saying? I don't think they have an issue with correction. I think it's some things y'all dealt with was abuse, to be honest, and I'm sorry I do that, but like, it wasn't okay.
but I don't know. I just, you know, I guess we never saw it like abuse. Only I think because most of it was done to try to correct, and you know, those who submitted to the correction came out okay. They was around longer. Those who went against the correction or didn't get the correction ended up going down a lot of times down the wrong, you know, path. So. You know, it's like there is a point. Like I do believe some things are abuse. Like I don't believe, and this is just me. I don't believe a spanking is abuse, But if you getting beat with an extension cord, oh, that's abuse.
We need that.
That's assault.
But
let's get beyond. But let's even get beyond the family. When we were coming up, our neighbors could even discipline us if they saw us doing something that we weren't supposed to be doing. We could get a whooping by a neighbor.
Oh yeah, okay.
The neighbor would take you home, tell your parent, and then you get a whooping by a parent too. And you learn these people. Everybody's looking out for me. So it was like a community. So you weren't really. You may not have liked the neighbor, but because they were snitching on you. But understanding they actually were looking out for you because you were doing something that could have caused you harm or got you in trouble worse. And so I don't know, I think my mama always said, I'd rather me whoop your butt than you get caught up in jail and have to really deal with, some toughness.
Well, once again, like I said, I was told on by my teacher, and I saw my brother get whooped by my teacher. That's not. I'm not saying that was disrespect, because when the person's in the wrong, they deserve correction. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's not about being corrected in a way that would say quote unquote aggression. That wasn't. I don't think that's what we're saying. I'm trying to speak globally for millennials. It's not about respect them when you about to get disciplined. Respect to hit me when I'm wrong. That's not where it's coming from. It's just like in general, give respect. Treat people all, as a human, and then give respect. Just basics. It's not about whoopings and being corrected. Just basic respect. Everybody demands it, and then we try to achieve giving greater respect to those who are older than us. That's that.
So how do we, as generations, right? We all got different ways of how things went or how things came about, and we're here now, right? So how do we come together and be able to function one another, understanding the difference in generations, and how do we come together to become a better people, a better community, to be able to come together and be unified and be able to develop the respect structure. The respect structure to be able to go forth and be, instead of us being like, when somebody say something, we don't talk to each other. But we gotta, that's disrespectful. How do we get this thing together where we come together as one people to become better at communicating with each other? Because there's some dysfunction in all the situations. Help us out.
Angel simply just said communication. I think the biggest thing will be is that don't forget that you're also this age before. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times, I wasn't born yesterday. I've been there. Don't forget that you've been where they are, and show sympathy to where they're at. Because I look at the generation underneath me, and I'm like, man, I did think I knew everything at that age, man, but I was stupid. And I know at this time they really just don't have the ability to think past where they are, because that's how the brain works. They're not supposed to. So then I give grace. I give grace knowing they really can't think where I'm at because they haven't had my experience. So let me not hound them or be mad or like that. I got to give grace. And then you teach and you meet them where they're at because you were once there. So let's not forget that. And then what somebody else said, Annette said, she said, listen to learn. You know what I'm saying? Really listen. But it's like, but also always have the desire to change. Everything that happened didn't work. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, even the older people have to grow past that, because a lot of things we dealt with, the generations before me, they went through slavery. They went through a lot of abuse and things like that. And even why we act, there's many documentaries about that now. Why, the mothers are so harsh to their kids and don't walk that way and do this, because of what we received on the back end from other other races and things like that. We had to protect ourselves. And coming out of that, that era and coming to the era we are, we're a little more free, and we deal with, these race issues a little differently. And we have to understand we have to grow to what is now, to understand what time is now. But I would say in general, let's not forget that we were once kids, that we were sneaking around when we were younger. We listened to music that our parents didn't like. We did all kids that our parents disapproved of, but we were there and we thought we knew what was right. Let's not forget that and say, I really thought I was smart. And now I know maybe I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? So give grace there. And always, no matter what age you are, be willing to change and understand, I don't understand that at your age. What you're dealing with now, technically I have to deal with. what Angel and Elisha deal with in middle school, being at home and taking classes, or even the sexuality and things like that, those are not things I had to deal with at such a young age. So we have to recognize they have different woes and different things, and be willing to be sympathetic and empathetic to those generations, and not act like we know everything, because we don't. It doesn't matter how old you are. We do not know everything.
That's true. And we're gonna have to wrap it up because again we're out of time. But we do have to keep in mind that every generation, again, my generation, we were outside riding our bikes all day. Mm-hmm. This generation, they're on the phones all day. This device right here, that was nowhere even thought about when I was their age. So a lot of the things that they see, the things that they're exposed to, the things that you guys feel, we came up in a different time as far as everything wasn't at, right at our fingertips. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of things we had to, learn and do. So the point you made, just, listen to learn, is an awesome point. I think that would be something great, today. But I want to give a last word to the Gen Zs. If you could say anything that you want to the other generations that will help them to understand you better, what would you say?
Come on, man.
Just say anything you want to say that will help other generations that understand you better.
I'm gonna let Elisha go first. Yes, man.
I don't know. Yes. I don't know.
What can we do to understand you better?
I feel like y'all grew up different, so certain stuff that we do is not something that y'all used to. So I feel like certain stuff that we do that y'all don't understand, I feel like y'all should ask instead of automatically assuming that certain stuff that we do is like, what's the word?
Rebellious.
Yeah, but it's not brought to our attention because what y'all used to go through when y'all was little is not something that we go through, because now that it's different in our generation than it was in y'all's.
That's a great point. I had to kind of chime in real quick. What we see is what you all may see as rebellious, or maybe even me, like, oh my goodness, I would never like to do that, is their norm. Is their norm. They don't know any different. And like you said, when you have access to everything on the phone and like that, they have a really big norm. A lot of things are normal now, and those things were not normal when we were younger, and definitely not when you were younger. So we have to kind of address them differently instead of assuming like they're just out here trying to be crazy. They don't know what crazy really is. It's their norm.
On that note, I think I'm going to leave it at this. And I want to get last words. We got to go. Empathy, everybody. We have to walk in empathy. So we have to put ourselves in someone else's shoes. Mm-hmm. So with the older generation or Generation X, we're going to have to put ourselves in the shoes of the millennials who are, coming up, in the age of a lot of responsibility, but things are different. The economy's crazy, racism's on the rampage, and television, everything is different than it was when we were. So we need to look at things from where they are, how we would feel at their age from where they are. Same thing with Gen Z. We have to be empathetic, put ourselves in your shoes. How will we feel at your age in today's world? So, and vice versa, you guys be empathetic with us. How would I feel at their age in this world or in this situation? If we all can apply some empathy, putting ourselves in someone else's shoes, just to come to a place of understanding, we don't always have to agree. But if we understand where one another is coming from, then we can meet people where they are, love them where they are, and then move forward in community.
So we will have a healthier community.
Community.
Healthier.
Yep. So I enjoyed talking to you guys. A nice little quick conversation. Oh yeah, if you haven't had a chance to get my book, please get my book, Gracefully Losing My Religion. My Journey to Love Without Limits is available at Amazon. It's available at Barnes & Noble. And let me take a great big breath, because it is also going to be available this upcoming Saturday during the grand opening of the music firm. So meet me at 16376 Middle Belt Road for the music firm's grand opening, and I will be there signing my book, Gracefully Losing My Religion. So also come support Courtney Moore. Again, the grand opening of the music firm, and that's at 16376 Middle Belt Road. It's in Livonia, Michigan. This is like a Black-owned guitar center. Come on now. Come on now. We need to support. So if you can, meet me there this Saturday, 4 p.m. I will be signing my book, and you can get a signed copy of Gracefully Losing My Religion and come and support this awesome Black business. Woo! Yay. So,
Yeah.
well, this has been a Page to Speak.
I'm Jonathan Lee Page.
I'm Stephanie Page.
What's your name, bro?
Elisha Page.
You're
Angel Page.
And Jalen Golfer.
Yeah.
We love you. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.